we found some of the craziest natural disasters ever caught on camera. From destructive tornadoes to violent volcanic eruptions and even near double-digit magnitude earthquakes, here are some of the craziest natural disasters ever seen on camera. The natural disaster at the end of this video will send shivers down your spine, so make sure to stick around so you don't miss a thing. China has a rather long history of severe weather conditions. Several strong typhoons hit the nation back in 2015, and in the course of one of them, the philosopher in the Zhejiang area caught the exact moment a gigantic wave slammed into a cluster of buildings. Just about 2 months after that photo was taken, another powerful storm devastated the area, starting in the last 2 days of September. Very early in the wee hours on September 29th, Typhoon Dujuin stormed the Fujian province, and just like it was captured in the photo in July, locals were also able to capture footage of the precise moment when the waves slammed into land, flooding the streets and nearby residences. Heavy rains and strong winds accompanied the storm, and according to local reports, it moved at a staggering speed of up to 75 miles an hour. Typhoon Dujuin also damaged public properties at a rather unprecedented scale, affected public transportation, and even cut off the power supply to a number of locations. 2015 would prove to be a pretty violent year for extreme weather in the province, with around 20 typhoons occurring during the season and causing billions of dollars in reported damage. While typhoons can be deadly and destructive, landslides are capable of wreaking even more havoc. One of nature's most destructive forces is undoubtedly landslides. In contrast to other natural disasters, the destruction caused by landslides is often irreparable, and no structure, no matter how strong, is secure when one happens. Landslides are a common occurrence in an increasing number of countries today, and sadly, there isn't much that can be done in curtailing or preventing them. The earliest indicators of an impending landslide were noticed by locals in June 2020 in Batang Barat, a remote township in Indonesia. With very little time to react, people in the danger zone were quickly evacuated, with each person taking only what they could carry from their homes. Within a short while after the evacuation, the road started to show signs of cracking and a deep rumble of the earth shifting could be heard. Soon, the noises got louder, and the cracks got bigger. It was at this moment that a local took out his phone and began recording the scene. To everyone's disbelief, the entire hillside gave way only seconds later. Landslides are a frequent occurrence in Indonesia, and to give you a clearer picture of the situation in the country, an estimated 577 landslides occurred in 2020 alone, beating the 473 highest records set in 2018. But thanks to the quick thinking of the locals, no casualties were recorded, and every single person was successfully evacuated to safety just in time. Experts are now predicting that more landslides would occur in the coming years, and that Southeastern Asian countries should brace up and plan ahead. While you might think Indonesia only gets affected by landslides, the country also has some of the world's most active volcanoes. But just how much tougher can it get for Indonesians? Sofan Pangestu, the man who captured this footage, was hiking with a group of hikers when they all started to witness the most unexpected thing take place before their very eyes. His recording precisely captured the exact moment when the volcano on Mount Merapi started to erupt, at first softly before going full-blown in the twinkle of an eye. Indonesia is also a country that's filled with a shockingly high concentration of volcanoes, much like its landslides. Of the 147 volcanoes located in Indonesia and around the Pacific Ring of Fire, Mount Merapi is the most active of them all. This dangerous situation constantly puts the lives of the nearly 5 million inhabitants of the region in grave danger. On May 18, 2018, while preparing breakfast at their campsite, this group of Indonesian climbers decided to go up Mount Merapi. The group had hardly started to ascend when they heard a distant rumbling sound. They were startled to discover that Mount Merapi had awoken and was now exploding just a few hundred feet away from them. Later, the group would tell journalists that they had been taken by surprise and were fortunate to have made it to safety in time. Ash from the eruption is believed to have reached a height around 5,500 meters, or slightly over 18,000 feet, according to an official report from the Indonesian government. The group's miraculous escape without even a scratch remains a wonder of some sort. The magma released from volcanoes can be very hot and generate a ton of heat, but it's nothing compared to the ferocious fires when great expanses of forest burn. Numerous towns around the world were at risk from forest fires. Although they're more popular in the United States for the destruction they created the state of California, many other countries frequently suffer from them to an even larger extent. Forest fires primarily occur in places where a lack of rain mixed with a high temperature dries out the forest floor, effectively turning hundreds of acres of land into twigs. In 2021, Turkey witnessed forest fires in a way that no other nation in the world ever before has. This fire burned for 2 weeks between July and August, and across nearly 200 different locations simultaneously. This intense blaze destroyed over 160,000 hectares of land in the country. It was the worst fire ever in Turkey's long history, and many regions are still recovering from the aftermath. The unrelenting fire burned through 35 different provinces and required the manpower of every fire department in the country. In the Manavgat district in southern Turkey, the Anadolu Agency was able to capture very tense images and recordings of the moment when one of those fires spread out to a busy road and sent citizens scampering to safety. Fortunately, the fire was contained to the hillside, allowing everyone on the road to escape completely unharmed. Almost all of the flames were put out in early August after they had been burning for 2 weeks. A heat wave that affected the area dried out the grass, along with lightning that sparked the flames in the forests. These were the official identified causes of the fire. Fire burns just about everything it comes into contact with, but water and mud are incapable of such a thing. An unexpected and very unwelcome visitor arrived in August 2018 in the calm and cozy Swiss mountain village of Grenier. It was first contained to a little waterway and started as a rumbling. But as horrified bystanders watched and recorded, the flood of black mud overflowed the channel, rumbled through the town, jumped over roadways, and crashed into vehicles and homes. The calamity followed heavy rain from a sudden storm that had forced a river higher up the mountain to burst its banks. There were no reported injuries, but there was a huge mess. While the damage from a debris flow is often minimal and can be easily cleared out, not the same thing can be said about the devastation caused by a high-magnitude earthquake. On Tuesday, October 17, 1989, as thousands of baseball fans eagerly anticipated Game 3 of the World Series in San Francisco's Candlestick Park, millions of other baseball fans tuned in at home to watch the game on their TV. What they saw, however, was the first live broadcast of a big earthquake on American television. Security cameras and camcorders captured the moment when what was supposed to be a routine game suddenly turned into the unimaginable. From investigations, a clip in the San Andreas Fault caused a brief but powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake, resulting in a very chaotic situation in the Bay Area, leaving 63 people dead and thousands of others injured. While earthquakes are a bit more commonplace, this last natural disaster that we'll be showing you seldom occurs but will send shivers down your spine. Skiing is one of the most popular winter sports in the world. It's an activity that can be enjoyed by people of all skill levels and offers some much-needed fun during the chilly winter months. However, for those who are already good at skiing, skiing at a typical resort can get boring after a while. They often end up needing to find a new and more challenging terrain that would truly test the level of their expertise. On January 6, 2022, 3 skilled skiers set out for a remote mountain in Sphere, Georgia. One of the skiers, Shako, recorded the trip on a helmet camera, and the beginning of the video gives you a feel of how treacherous the terrain was. He didn't waste any time after choosing a good place from which to begin his descent, and he started down immediately. At first, everything seems to be going according to plan, but that changed very quickly. A moment later, an avalanche builds directly beneath his feet, and fortunately for his 2 friends, the avalanche halted just some inches from where they stood, preventing all 3 of them from sustaining any serious injuries. Avalanches, like landslides, can be very destructive but are easily preventable, simply by clearing heavy snow buildups on mountain paths. This is a common practice adapted by many reputable ski resorts and has helped to save thousands of lives. See you in the next video.